Act I, Shadows of War, Embers of Love. The Clone Wars had begun, and with it, the rise of a young and powerful Jedi Knight named Anakin Skywalker. Trained by the esteemed Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin quickly proved himself to be a formidable warrior and skilled diplomat, attracting the attention of many powerful female Jedi. Padmé Amidala. The first to capture Anakin's heart was the beautiful and graceful Senator Padmé Amidala. Their forbidden love blossomed during the early years of the war as they worked together to defeat the separatist forces. One fateful night, alone in their quarters, Anakin and Padmé finally gave in to their desires. "Anakin, you can't keep doing this," Padmé whispered, her voice trembling as she pressed her body against his in the dimly lit quarters of the Republic cruiser. Her hands traced the hard lines of his chest, her nails lightly scraping against his skin. "What if someone finds out?" Anakin's breath hitched as he leaned into her touch, his lips brushing against her ear. "Let them find out," he growled, his voice low and possessive. His hands slid down her back, gripping her hips and pulling her closer until there was no space left between them. "I don't care anymore," Padmé moaned softly, her fingers tangling in his hair as he kissed her neck, his teeth grazing her skin. She could feel the heat radiating from him, the way his body responded to hers with an intensity that made her knees weak. "But the Council?" "The Council doesn't control me," Anakin interrupted, his voice sharp but laced with desire. He lifted her effortlessly, her legs wrapping around his waist as he carried her to the bed. "You're mine, Padmé." "Always have been," she gasped as he laid her down, his weight pressing her into the mattress. His lips crashed onto hers, hungry and demanding, while his hands roamed her body, exploring every curve as if he were memorizing her. Padmé arched into him, her own hands fumbling with the clasps of his tunic, desperate to feel his skin against hers. When their clothes finally fell away, Anakin paused for a moment, his eyes dark with need as he took in the sight of her. "You're so beautiful," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. His fingers traced the line of her jaw, down her neck, and over her collarbone before cupping her breast, his thumb brushing over her nipple. Padmé shivered at the touch, her breath coming in short, uneven gasps. "Anakin," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Please." He didn't need to be told twice. His mouth descended on hers again, his tongue sliding against hers as he positioned himself between her legs. She could feel him, hard and ready, pressing against her entrance. With a slow, deliberate movement, he pushed inside her, filling her completely. Padmé cried out, her nails digging into his back as he began to move, each thrust sending waves of pleasure through her body. Anakin groaned, his forehead resting against hers as he set a steady rhythm, his hips rocking against hers with a force that left her breathless. "You feel so good," he murmured, his voice rough with desire. His hands gripped her hips, pulling her closer with each thrust, driving himself deeper into her. "I've wanted this for so long." "Me too," Padmé gasped, her legs tightening around him as the pleasure built inside her. She could feel it coiling in her core, threatening to explode with every movement of his body against hers. "Anakin, I'm close." "Let go," he urged, his voice a low growl. He shifted slightly, angling his hips to hit that spot inside her that made her see stars. "Come for me, Padmé." Her body obeyed instantly, the tension snapping as she cried out his name, her orgasm crashing over her like a tidal wave. Anakin followed soon after, his own release spilling into her as he buried his face in her neck, his breathing ragged. They lay there for a moment, tangled together in the aftermath, their hearts pounding in unison. Padmé traced lazy circles on his back, a small smile playing on her lips. "That was incredible," she murmured. Anakin chuckled softly, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "It's only the beginning," he promised, his voice filled with a quiet determination. "You're mine, Padmé, and I'm never letting you go." Setting, Clone Wars era, 21 BBY. Anakin and Obi-Wan battle separatist forces on Second Battle of Geonosis and on Ilum. During the mission, Jedi Masters Luminara Unduli and Barriss Offee assist. As the war raged on, Anakin found himself drawn to the wisdom and grace of the ancient Jedi Master, Luminara Unduli. Together, they battled the Separatists on countless occasions, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. One evening, as they rested in their camp, Adi reached out and gently touched Anakin's cheek, knowing that if she does it, she would break the Jedi code. "You've become quite the Jedi, young Skywalker," she said softly, her eyes glinting with desire. Anakin leaned into her touch, his heart racing as he felt the heat of her breath on his skin. "I couldn't have done it without you, Master Gallia," he replied, his voice husky with need. With her persistent seduction, Anakin fell in love. They kissed then, a passionate embrace that quickly turned into a feverish exploration of each other's bodies. Adi moaned as Anakin's hands roamed over her curves, his fingers finding her most sensitive spots and bringing her to new heights of pleasure. After that, Obi-Wan was suspicious that they were getting closer, but decided to ignore for the time being because of the war. Barriss Offee, the fiery and impulsive Jedi Master, was next to capture Anakin's heart. She saw what Anakin did to her master and blushed. For the first time, she felt jealous and love. Her passion and intensity both on and off the battlefield captivated him, and soon they found themselves lost in a whirlwind of desire. One night, as they trained together under the twin moons of Naboo, Barriss pinned Anakin to the ground, her eyes smoldering with lust. "I want you, Anakin," she growled, her voice low and throaty. "I want to feel you inside me." Anakin tries to respond, but she did, with a deep, desperate kiss. Then suddenly, Anakin's hands grasping at her toned body as she straddled him. They made love right there on the training grounds, their cries of passion echoing through the night. After that night, Depa and Adi confesses their feeling and decided to be his lovers, even if leaving the Jedi Order. After the Second Battle of Geonosis, Anakin went back to Coruscant and felt guilty, and secretly talked to Padmé while Obi-Wan was talking to the Jedi Council about their next attack. He'd tell her about his two new lovers. Padmé was shocked and was furious, but then the two Jedi come to her quarters and explained everything, that they were the ones who seduced him first, lowering Padmé's anger. After a long conversation, she decided to let them join his harem, but on one condition, that she would decide if they were worthy to join Anakin's harem. They eventually agreed and departed. While Anakin was training in the Jedi Order, Depa Billaba, herself once broken by war, per Shatterpoint, tailed to Anakin Bekisu. She sensed conflict with him and talked to each other about Anakin's trauma. He told her everything. She was shocked but calm about this. She didn't report to the Jedi Council and decided to keep it a secret, and decided to train Anakin. After the incident, Anakin began training with Jedi Master Depa Billaba, who had experienced her own trauma during the Clone Wars. Together, they worked through Anakin's guilt and anger, slowly healing the wounds left by his forbidden love affair with Padmé. Depa proved to be a skilled mentor, her own experiences allowing her to understand Anakin on a deeper level. She encouraged him to confront his emotions head-on, teaching him to channel his pain and rage into the Force rather than letting it consume him. As the weeks turned into months, Anakin found himself growing closer to Depa, both as a student and as a friend. They spent countless hours together, training in the courtyard or meditating in the gardens, their bond deepening with each passing day. It was during one of these meditation sessions that Depa finally opened up to Anakin about her own past. She spoke of the battles she had fought, the lives she had taken, and the toll it had taken on her own spirit. "I thought I was strong," she confessed, her voice trembling slightly. "But war has a way of breaking even the strongest of us." Anakin listened intently, his heart aching for the pain she had endured. He reached out and took her hand in his, squeezing it gently. "You're not alone, Depa," he murmured, his voice filled with empathy. "I'm here for you, always." Depa smiled softly, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Thank you, Anakin. That means more to me than you could ever know." As the weeks turned into months, Anakin found himself growing closer to Depa, both as a student and as a friend. They spent countless hours together, training in the courtyard or meditating in the gardens, their bond deepening with each passing day. But one day, Depa began to fall in love with him, and when Anakin was in her chambers, she suddenly lunged at him with a kiss like the Force was telling her to do it. Anakin's breath hitched as Deepa's lips found his, her kiss both gentle and demanding. He responded eagerly, his hands tangling in her hair as he pulled her closer, deepening the kiss. They sank to the soft grass of the garden, their bodies pressing together as if they were two halves of the same whole. Anakin's hands roamed over Deepa's curves, caressing the smooth skin of her back and hips, while hers explored the hard planes of his chest and abdomen. "I want you," Deepa whispered against his lips, her voice low and throaty with desire. "I've wanted this for so long." Anakin groaned, his body responding instantly to her words. He kissed her again, more urgently this time, his tongue sliding against hers as he rolled them over, pinning her beneath him. Deepa arched into him, her nails raking down his back as she gasped for air. She could feel him, hard and ready, pressing against her thigh, and she ached to have him inside her. With shaking hands, they undid the fastenings of their robes, letting them fall away to reveal their naked bodies. Anakin paused for a moment, his eyes dark with need as he took in the sight of her. "You're beautiful," he murmured, his fingers tracing the curve of her breast, circling her nipple until it tightened into a stiff peak. "I don't deserve you," Deepa smiled, reaching up to cup his face in her hands. "Shh," she whispered, her thumb brushing over his lips. "You deserve everything good in this life, Anakin. Let me show you." And then she was pulling him down to her, her legs wrapping around his waist as he entered her in one smooth thrust. They both cried out at the sensation, their bodies fitting together like they were made for each other. Anakin began to move, his hips rocking against hers in a steady rhythm that built in intensity with each passing moment. Deepa matched him, thrust for thrust, her body arching into his, lost in the pleasure of their union. "I love you," Anakin gasped, his voice ragged with emotion. "I love you so much." "I love you too," Deepa replied, her eyes locked on his. "Now show me what it means to be one with the Force." Their cries of passion echoed through the garden as they lost themselves in each other, their bodies moving in perfect harmony, a dance of love and devotion. After that, Anakin was on another mission. During the Battle of Quell, the Separatists unleash a full-scale assault, buzz droids, hyena bombers, and a blockade of munificent-class frigates. Skywalker's starfighter leads a daring flanking maneuver, cutting through the chaos. Ayla, always the daring acrobat, leads the ground forces. She moves with elegance and fury. Anakin joins her, lightsaber blazing alongside hers. They move as one. At the front lines, a droid tank fires toward clone medics. Ayla moves to shield them, but her saber arm is grazed by shrapnel. Anakin catches her. For a moment, the battlefield vanishes. His gloved hand rests on her side. Their eyes meet. "Ayla, you always save the day, Skywalker." Anakin smirking. "Only when you need it." Anakin saved her from getting exploded by the fire. Ayla then started to feel hot. She sensed that she had feelings for him, but decided to push her feelings. After the crash, she found him and take him to a medical bay. When he waked from consciousness, he suddenly saw her. His eyes was drawn to her. Together, they flanked the enemy stronghold. Ayla fights with renewed focus, watching Anakin's every move. When they breach the enemy bunker, Ayla takes out the central droid control node herself, leaping into the air, lightsabers spinning. After the Battle of Quell, and helped the villagers from the new weapon from the Separatists, they decided to work together on their next mission. Felucia's first major battle was meant to cripple Separatist infrastructure. General Grievous had buried several jamming power cores across the jungle to blind Republic communications. Anakin and Ayla volunteered for the riskiest strike, disabling the main core near the southern ridge. They led a small clone squad through the dense fungal forests, where thick vines twisted around glowing trees and the air shimmered with toxic spores. But the enemy was ready. As they reached the cliffside cavern housing the generator, a Separatist commander activated a bombing run. Explosions shook the earth, The ground cracked beneath them. They landed hard on a jagged rock platform, deep inside a subterranean cave system. When Anakin went to ignite his saber to illuminate the cavern, Ayla immediately grabbed his arm. "Ayla, don't. There's gas. One spark, and we'll burn alive." Anakin paused. The air stank metallic and sharp. She was right. They tried shifting rubble, but every push only caused more stones to fall. Hours passed, then a day, then 2, day 3, truth in the darkness. By the 3rd day, the air was thin. The silence deafening. They sat beside each other, backs to stone, bodies weary. "Ayla, I used to believe everything the Council taught. Those attachments weaken us. That emotion clouds duty. But these last 6 months," she looked at him, "have been the most meaningful of my life, because I've been beside someone I trust, someone who inspires me." Anakin didn't respond right away. Then, Anakin, "I married Padmé, but war changed everything. I never see her. I'm not the man she married anymore." He looked at Ayla, searching her face. "Being with her feels like remembering a dream. But being with you here, now even on the edge of death, feels real." A pause. A pause. The silence between them said what words couldn't. "Anakin," softly, "I love you." Ayla leaned forward. Their foreheads met. A long moment passed, and then they kissed. It wasn't urgent. It wasn't desperate. It was the truth, made visible. Rescue arrives. Just as their hands found each other, a beam of light pierced the cavern wall. Ahsoka's voice. "Master! General Sakura!" Obi-Wan Kenobi and a rescue team followed behind, cutting them free with surgical precision. They were saved. But what had happened between them couldn't be buried. Medical Bay. The next day. Lying in adjacent beds in the medical outpost, Anakin turned his head toward her. "Anakin, what I said, I meant it. Do you still want this?" Ayla. "Yes, but not if it's hidden in the shadows." Anakin nodded slowly. Ayla's breath caught in her throat as she gazed into his eyes, seeing the desire that mirrored her own. "Anakin, I have to tell you something," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "Tell me," he urged, his thumb gently tracing the line of her jaw. Ayla's cheeks flushed a soft pink as she admitted, "I've fallen in love with you. I know it goes against the Jedi code, but I can't control my feelings." "I want to be with you in every possible way." Anakin paused, his eyes searching hers deeply, as if seeking the truth in her words. A slow smile spread across his face. "Ayla," he confessed, his voice filled with emotion, "I've loved you for a long time. I was just waiting for the right moment to tell you." Joy and relief flooded through Ayla, and she closed the distance between them, pressing her lips to his in a passionate kiss. Anakin eagerly responded, his arms wrapping around her waist and pulling her close. They sank onto the bed, their bodies pressing together as they desperately explored each other. Clothes were hastily discarded, hands roaming over heated skin as they became lost in the moment. Ayla gasped as Anakin's lips trailed down her neck, his teeth gently grazing her pulse point. She arched into him, her nails raking down his back, urging him on. "I need you," she whispered, her voice thick with desire. "Please, Anakin, make love to me." Anakin groaned, his body instantly responding to her words. He positioned himself between her legs, entering her with a smooth thrust. They both cried out at the sensation, their bodies fitting together perfectly. Anakin began to move, his hips rocking against hers in a steady rhythm that built in intensity with each passing moment. Ayla matched his thrusts, her body arching into his, lost in the pleasure of their union. "I love you," Anakin gasped, his voice ragged with emotion. "I love you so much." "I love you too," Ayla replied, her eyes locked on his. Ayla and Anakin's confession to each other in the medical bay marks a turning point. They decide to embrace their feelings openly, despite the risks. Meanwhile, Ahsoka, witnessing their intimacy, struggles with her own emotions. She is torn between her loyalty to the Jedi Order and her growing affection for Anakin. One evening, as Ahsoka meditates in the temple's gardens, Ayla finds her. Ayla, sensing Ahsoka's turmoil, approaches her gently. "Ahsoka, I know what you saw." Ayla begins, her voice soft but firm. "And I know how you feel, but Anakin and we can't ignore our feelings anymore." Ahsoka looks up, her eyes filled with a mix of jealousy and longing. "I understand, Ayla, but the Jedi Code—" "Ahsoka, the war has changed us all," Ayla interrupts. "We can't live by the old rules anymore. We have to find our own path." Ahsoka is silent for a moment, then nods. "I see that, but I can't just stand by and watch. I need to be a part of this, too." The unspoken bond Ayla, surprised but understanding, reaches out and takes Ahsoka's hand.
"You already are, Ahsoka."
"You always have been." Back in Anakin's quarters, he is deep in thought. The weight of his secrets and the intensity of his relationships with Padmé, Luminara, Barriss, Deepa, and now Ayla is overwhelming. He knows that he can't keep living this way, torn between his duty to the Jedi and his love for these women. Suddenly, there is a knock at the door. Standing outside are Ayla and Ahsoka, their expressions serious but determined. "Anakin, we need to talk," Ayla says, her voice steady. Anakin steps aside to let them in, his heart pounding. He knows that this conversation will change everything. The threesome inside the quarters. The atmosphere is thick with tension and unspoken desires. Ayla and Ahsoka exchange a glance, and then Ayla turns to Anakin.
"We can't keep hiding our feelings, Anakin,"
Ayla says, her voice soft but firm. "We need to embrace them, all of us." Anakin looks at Ahsoka, who nods in agreement. "I felt it too, Anakin," she admits. "The bond between us is too strong to ignore." Anakin's breath hitches as he realizes the implications. He reaches out, taking both of their hands in his. "I want this too," he confesses. "But we have to be careful. The Council—" "We'll deal with the Council later," Ayla interrupts, her voice filled with determination. "Right now, we need each other." The room falls silent for a moment, and then Ayla steps closer to Anakin, her lips finding his in a passionate kiss. Ahsoka watches, her heart racing, and then joins them, her hands exploring Anakin's body as Ayla's do the same. The three of them move together, their bodies pressing against each other, their breaths mingling in a dance of desire and love. As they sink to the floor, their clothes fall away, and they become lost in each other. The room is filled with the sounds of their passion, their cries of pleasure echoing through the night. They move as one, their bodies intertwined, their hearts beating in sync. In that moment, they find a sense of peace and completeness that they have never known before. The war, the Jedi Code, and all the complexities of their lives fade away, leaving only the pure, unadulterated love that binds them together. The aftermath. As dawn breaks, the three of them lie tangled together, their bodies sated but their minds racing. They know that this is just the beginning of a long, complicated journey. But for now, they are content to be in each other's arms, to find solace and strength in their shared love. Ayla looks at Anakin and Ahsoka, a soft smile on her lips. "We'll face whatever comes our way, together," she says, her voice filled with determination. Anakin and Ahsoka nod in agreement, their hearts filled with a newfound sense of purpose and unity. They know that the path ahead will be fraught with challenges, but they are ready to face them head-on as long as they have each other. After the campaign is a success, they travel back to Coruscant and Anakin contact Barriss, Luminara Unduli, and Padmé's, and decided to meet at Padmé's house as the women goes to hug him. When they sees him with new people, Deepa, Ahsoka, Tano, and Ayla Secura, as he tells them about his relationship with his new lovers. They were jealous. As Anakin stood in Padmé's quarters, the air thick with tension and unspoken words, he could feel the weight of his actions pressing down on him. The room was filled with the women who had captured his heart in different ways. Padmé, Luminara, Barriss, Deepa, Ayla, and Ahsoka. Each of them looked at him with a mix of love, jealousy, and curiosity. Padmé, ever the diplomat, was the first to speak. "Anakin, we need to talk about this. About all of you." Anakin took a deep breath, his eyes meeting each of theirs in turn. "I know this is complicated, but I can't deny my feelings for any of you. I love each of you in your own way, and I want to be with all of you." Luminara, her voice soft but firm, added, "We understand, Anakin. The war has changed us all. We can't live by the old rules anymore." Barriss, her eyes smoldering with passion, stepped closer. "We need to find our own path, and that path includes being together." Deepa, always the voice of reason, nodded. "We can't keep hiding our feelings. We need to embrace them. All of us." Ayla, her hand in Ahsoka's, looked at Anakin with determination. "We're ready to face whatever comes our way together." The room fell silent for a moment, and then Padmé stepped forward, her lips finding Anakin's in a passionate kiss. The others watched, their hearts racing, as the room filled with the sound of their mingling breaths. One by one, they joined in, their hands exploring each other's bodies, their desires intertwining. Anakin responded eagerly, his arms wrapping around her waist, pulling her closer. The others watched, their breaths hitching as they waited for their turn. Luminara stepped forward next, her fingers tangling in Anakin's hair as she deepened the kiss. Her body pressed against his, and he could feel the heat radiating from her. Barriss joined them, her hands roaming over Anakin's back, her nails lightly scraping his skin. Deepa's touch was gentle but firm, her lips finding his in a soft, tender kiss. Ayla and Ahsoka moved together, their bodies pressing against each other, their breaths mingling in a dance of desire. Anakin's hands roamed over Padmé's curves, his lips tracing the line of her jaw, down her neck, and over her collarbone. Luminara's fingers tangled in his hair as she kissed him deeply, her body pressing against his. Barriss's nails raked down his back, her breath hot on his skin. Deepa's touch was gentle but firm, her lips finding his in a soft, tender kiss. Ayla and Ahsoka moved together, their bodies pressing against each other, their breaths mingling in a dance of desire. The room was a symphony of love and passion. Anakin's body responded to each touch, each kiss, each whisper of desire. He felt a sense of completeness, a sense of belonging that he had never known before. The war, the Jedi Code, and all the complexities of their lives faded away, leaving only the pure, unadulterated love that bound them together. Clothes began to fall away, one piece at a time. Padmé's gown slipped off her shoulders, revealing her smooth, creamy skin. Luminara's robes fell to the floor, exposing her toned body. Barriss's tunic was quickly discarded, leaving her in nothing but her undergarments. Deepa's attire was removed with gentle, careful hands, her body bared to Anakin's hungry gaze. Ayla and Ahsoka's uniforms were swiftly unbuttoned, revealing their toned, athletic forms. Anakin's breath hitched as he took in the sight of them all, their bodies glowing in the soft light. He reached out, his hands touching each of them, tracing the curves and lines that made them unique. The women responded in kind, their hands exploring his body, their touches sending shivers of pleasure down his spine. Padmé was the first to take him in her mouth, her lips wrapping around him, her tongue swirling around his sensitive tip. Anakin groaned, his head falling back as he savored the sensation. Luminara and Barriss joined in, their hands and mouths working in tandem, driving him to the brink of ecstasy. Deepa's lips found his neck, her teeth gently grazing his skin, sending waves of pleasure coursing through his body. Ayla and Ahsoka's touches were more exploratory, their hands roaming over his chest, his abdomen, his thighs, their lips finding his in soft, tender kisses. The room was filled with the sounds of their pleasure, their moans and gasps echoing off the walls. Anakin's body was on fire, his desires heightened by the touch of so many women he loved. He reached out, his hands finding Padmé's breast, his thumb circling her nipple until it hardened. Luminara's hand wrapped around him, her strokes matching the rhythm of Padmé's mouth. Barriss's lips found his, her tongue dancing with his, her body pressing against his side. Deepa's touch was more intimate, her fingers finding his most sensitive spots, her lips trailing down his chest, his abdomen, his thighs. Ayla and Ahsoka's kisses were more passionate, their bodies pressing against his, their desires matching his own. As the night wore on, they moved as one, their bodies intertwined, their hearts beating in sync. Anakin's body responded to each touch, each kiss, each whisper of desire. He felt a sense of completeness, a sense of belonging that he had never known before. The war, the Jedi Code, and all the complexities of their lives faded away, leaving only the pure, unadulterated love that bound them together. They explored each other's bodies, their desires, their dreams. They found solace and strength in their shared love, a love that transcended the boundaries of the Jedi Code and the war that raged around them. In that moment, they found a sense of peace and completeness that they had never known before. The war, the Jedi Code, and all the complexities of their lives faded away, leaving only the pure, unadulterated love that bound them together. As dawn broke, they lay tangled together, their bodies sated but their minds racing. They knew that this was just the beginning of a long, complicated journey. But for now, they were content to be in each other's arms, to find solace and strength in their shared love. Padmé looked at Anakin, a soft smile on her lips. "We'll face whatever comes our way, together." Anakin and the others nodded in agreement, their hearts filled with a newfound sense of purpose and unity. They knew that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges, but they were ready to face them head-on as long as they had each other. As they departed and his lovers were out in battle trying to end the war. As the war was ending, after Anakin and Obi-Wan went to save the Chancellor Palpatine and killed Dooku, the Chancellor tried to make Anakin a Jedi Master in the Council, but he knew that they wouldn't let him. Anakin was angry, and Palpatine tried to manipulate him and talking about Darth Plagueis. After the conversation, Palpatine tried to manipulate him in his dreams of Padmé dying, but didn't know about the relationship with his harem but Padmé. Anakin was haunted by these visions, his sleep plagued by nightmares of Padmé's suffering. He would wake up in a cold sweat, his heart pounding, only to find himself alone in his quarters. The weight of his secrets and the intensity of his relationships with Padmé, Luminara, Barriss, Depa, Ayla, and Ahsoka was overwhelming. He knew that he couldn't keep living this way, torn between his duty to the Jedi and his love for these women. One night, as he lay awake, staring at the ceiling, he felt a presence in the room. Turning, he saw Padmé standing in the doorway, her eyes filled with concern. She approached him, sitting on the edge of the bed, her hand reaching out to touch his cheek. "You're troubled," she said softly, her thumb brushing away a tear he hadn't even realized had fallen. Anakin sighed, sitting up and pulling her into a embrace. "I can't keep doing this, Padmé," he confessed. "The visions, the war, the secrets, it's all too much." Padmé held him tightly, her voice steady and calm. "We'll face it together, Anakin. You're not alone." But Anakin knew that facing the truth would mean revealing everything to the Chancellor, to the Jedi Council, and to the galaxy. It would mean shattering the illusion of the noble Jedi Knight and exposing the flawed human being beneath. He was terrified of the consequences, of the judgment that would surely follow. Meanwhile, Luminara, Barriss, Depa, Ayla, and Ahsoka were each fighting their own battles, their hearts heavy with the knowledge of Anakin's struggle. They knew that the end of the war was in sight, but they also knew that their love for Anakin would be put to the test. After that night, he was instructed to meet with Chancellor, and Palpatine revealed everything that he was a Sith Lord. He tried to make Anakin think that he can save Padmé. Anakin decided to turn him over to the Council. After that conversation, he quickly told the Council and was shocked, so they decided to go to his office to stop or kill Palpatine. As Anakin contacted his lovers, he knew that the path ahead would be treacherous. The Jedi Council, unaware of the depth of Anakin's entanglements, prepared to confront Chancellor Palpatine. Anakin, driven by a mix of duty and personal vendetta, led the way to Palpatine's office, his lightsaber ignited and his heart pounding. The confrontation, The doors to Palpatine's office slid open with a hiss, revealing the Chancellor seated at his desk, a sinister smile playing on his lips. The Jedi Council, led by Mace Windu, flanked Anakin, their lightsabers at the ready. "Chancellor Palpatine," Mace Windu began, his voice stern. "You are under arrest for treason against the Republic and for being a Sith Lord." Palpatine's smile widened, his eyes gleaming with malice. "Ah, Mace. Always the dramatic one. And Anakin, my dear boy, you look troubled. Perhaps you should reconsider your allegiance." Anakin's grip tightened on his lightsaber, his resolve unshaken. "You're a monster, Palpatine." "Your manipulations end now," Palpatine chuckled, standing up and drawing his own red-bladed lightsaber. "Very well, Jedi. Let us see who is the true monster." The battle was swift and brutal. Mace Windu and Palpatine clashed, their lightsabers crossing in a flurry of sparks. Anakin and the other Jedi engaged the Chancellor's secret guard, their blades cutting through the darkness. The room was filled with the clash of metal and the screams of the dying. As Mace Windu gained the upper hand, Palpatine screamed in rage, his lightsaber thrusting wildly. In a moment of desperation, Palpatine activated a hidden mechanism, sending a surge of dark energy through his body.